Hi everyone and welcome to another video. Now, as you can see by the title, this is going to be a bit of a different video and I have not really planned out what I'm going to say specifically, but yeah, as you can see by the title, this will be a little bit of an exploration of my experience on Booktube and how that affected my confidence and other aspects of my life. So, going a little bit back, I'm not sure if it shows on camera, but I'm sure I have some moments. But I'm a very, how do I say it? Because extravagant is not the right word, but I'm an extrovert. I'm not really an extrovert, but I'm a very weird person in all the good ways, I feel. But I get very enthusiastic about certain things. I enjoy very specific and unusual things. I have a very unusual way of expressing myself sometimes. I'm just a weird person. Again, in all the good ways. But I struggle to be fit in a box and I don't like that, and I'm very, but I always was that, but I wasn't always confident about that. I often try to hide it and try to blend in, especially because I was bullied. That ended up in me developing depression as well as an anxiety disorder, which I was both diagnosed with. The depression aspect, I'm currently doing very well, the best I've been in a very long time. And also the anxiety part is I still suffer from certain anxiety issues, but that's beside the point. I also have 2 chronic illnesses that made it even harder for me to confidently live the life I actually wanted to live and the life I'm living now, because simply of the fear of being thrown back with that illness or with those illnesses. If you don't know, I have or had chronic migraines. I have not had an attack migraine wise in now almost 2 years, fingers crossed. But I also have chronic fatigue syndrome, and these obviously affect your ability to function. And I was always scared to live life fully because of that. I was very much a cycle, and that affected again my mental health even after the whole bullying stopped and I was in a different setting and stuff like that. And that obviously affected my confidence quite a bit. And it is hard to lack that confidence if you are the personality I am. Again, I'm not necessarily an extrovert, because even though I really like being surrounded by people and interacting with people and being social, it drains me so much that I often have to force myself into social situations, because otherwise I would just go back into my shelf and never leave the house, which sometimes I don't, but with university and stuff like that, and with Booktube, I realized to balance those 2 things. And coming to the point of that video is, I'm sure you noticed as well, just in the amount of how more confident I got with, or when I started from where I started my channel to now, and how much I grew into who I really am in front of the camera actually, and how much more comfortable I am sharing who I really am. And I sort of wanted to reflect on that journey and be open about different points in my Booktube experience I had. I've passed my 1 year anniversary in December, and sort of how I would like to be open with you about the experience, because it wasn't always easy, and I would like to open up about that. So, to begin with, English is not my first language. As some of you know, it's not even like second language or whatever. I speak English because I've learned it in school. I went to early English classes, and English was always a language I absolutely adored. I can speak other languages, obviously German. I speak as good as I can Italian, and I can speak a little bit of French, but English has always been the language I loved the most. But of course it's not my native language, so that's always tricky to start a channel that is not in your native language. But I made a conscious decision, and it wasn't that hard because some of you know that I was sort of already established a little bit in the community when I started my channel, as I had a long-running blog and interacted in comments and on other social medias with content creators and built friendships before that. So I had an easier segue into the community than most have, and I'm very grateful for that. It was hard to start the channel still, because I was very proud of my blog, and I was very strongly opinionated about the lack of representation of written forms of bookish communities, which I feel like now is changing, and is a bit ironic because I basically neglected my blog, and sometimes I miss it, but I've grown to love this format a lot. Wouldn't say more than my blog, but I've grown very used to putting up the camera or my phone to record. But at the start it wasn't easy, and I don't think I've talked about that ever, but it sort of felt like more of a defeat than gaining something. I was always very strongly opinionated that my blog was enough, and at first it felt like starting a channel was giving in to what people wanted and giving up what I wanted first. And that wasn't the case, but that's how it felt like. And I felt like I was giving something up because people told me to, and that sort of made me sad. And I felt like I'm just going with the flow again. So I had to adjust to that change a bit. And again, I never admitted that. And I know the easy answer would be, you should have gone on with your blog. And I did that for a long time. And if you go back to my old videos, I also really tried to put the content I had on my blogs onto my channel. And that didn't really work. They felt very scripted and very forced and not natural and not how I like to do them now. And sort of the second phase of my channel was when I discovered those typical formats of the Booktube community and tried to adapt them in some way, which really didn't work. I pre-filmed about up to 8 videos a day, and I'm currently also pre-filming because I'm going to be quite busy in the next week, and I would love to get those ideas out before I get busy. But I forced myself to make content regularly and within those formats, and I forced myself to produce content. I started to read for content and no longer for the sake of reading, which was sad. And I quickly realized I was starting to get unhappy with it. That's not what I wanted. And then I sort of wanted a change. And I'm mentioning all those things because those moments of wanting something and it's not adding up with the channel and not with my personality, not with the community, those are moments where I felt like I was again in a very low confident level and I was not feeling up to filming. I was bothered about the way I looked in the camera. I was bothered to always put on makeup, no matter if I'm going out anyway or not. And you can see now I really don't care at the moment, and sort of that, it felt like I was thrown back to those times where I was not really confident with myself, and that was a shame. So there's another change, and I sort of grew into a little bit more of my own voice on this platform. But I was still not there completely. And then started a time where I got very frustrated with the community itself. And again, that's not something I've been opening up a lot on here. Some of my closest friends know about that struggle. But I found myself very much not liking my place in the community, not liking where I thought the community was going. And I stopped making videos for a bit, and I produced less videos. I went on a break completely because I was just so not motivated to do any content, because I was so frustrated with everything. I saw so many things, and I always saw just the negative things, or just negative things were thrown at me. I wasn't involved with a lot of negativity. And a lot of it was, all of a sudden, I heard voices that were very much looking down on so many genres I enjoy. may that be I felt like people found it boring when I review classics or historical fiction or literary fiction, or I found myself to be ridiculed for, or I've had the sense of feeling ridiculed for when I read a middle grade or when YA, and I was so frustrated with those dynamics. And on the other hand, I was so surrounded by what you call booktube drama, and that was not what I was seeking for. And there was a point where I had to stop and say it's enough, and I don't want to do that any longer. There was a time where I debated if I should even come back, or if I ever will come back, and here I am now. Because during that break, I reflected a lot on how 2018 changed me. I faced some difficult moments that sort of were related with the community and with people I've met on this community that really brought me down a lot. They hurt me quite a bit, but at the same time I was living my life, and I've never been happier with my real life than I was at that point. And I grew to be even more confident with myself, and I finally grew into the person I actually am. And I felt like the community I grew to love so much wasn't giving me the outlet, until I realized that it is up to me to decide. It is up to me to decide who I want to give my energy to, who I want to interact on, in what way, and especially what I want to put out here. This is a lovely place for interacting with amazing friends I've made through this platform, but this is still my channel. And I hope deeply that those people who have become my friends on here are here because of me, and they will watch what I have to say. And I don't want to go back to that place of conforming to certain formats because they work well, read certain types of books because I have people expecting me to read certain type of books, because I don't want to give up the confidence I earned so much. Especially not through something that I love so dearly and gave me such a boost of confidence as well. I remember like I was always so nervous doing presentations for school, and that's probably because of that whole bullying history. But once I started the channel, I grew so much more confident with speaking in front of people, and I'm so cool about it now, and I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for the people I've met. And I realized it is up to me how I want to sort of establish this community, because, and I think that's what Jason over at All Blues Chapter and Verse said in one of his videos for Litmus, and that's that I want this channel, he was talking about realness on Booktube. I want this channel to be an exact portrayal of who I am, and if that doesn't please certain people, that's okay. And this is my journey towards how I grew confident with Booktube, but also confident with what I'm doing here. If you enjoy what I'm doing here, and if you enjoy me and my personality, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine as well. But I'm not going to change, because I pretended to be different than who I was for far too long in my life, than to do that now again. So I know I read very much in very many genres. I don't mean quantity very much, but like I read in very different genres, and not all genres please everyone, but they please me. I'm a very specific type of person. I'm not always up to everyone's taste. I'm not a person who can shape themselves into everyone how they want to be, how they want me to be. So I'm just who I am. And I, especially through that break, I realized that this is my channel and with my channel you're going to get me. And I always hear people say that, well, obviously you are putting on a persona for your channel, but to be honest with me here, you pretty much get what you see in real life as well. So yeah, I might be a little bit more crazy in real life, but yes, this is sort of a reflection on my journey and my confidence with Booktube, and being all open and honest, and being ready for that new chapter here on that channel. And I hope you enjoyed the previous videos you've seen, yeah, with like the book talks and stuff like that. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the mix. That's what you get in the future, and I hope to see you then for my next video. So thanks for watching, and be a gracious queen or king or whatever, because you are, and you're all amazing, and just be yourself and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Thanks for watching. Bye.